Just getting set up. Give me 1 second. Hello, how are you? I am going to give hello, how are you? Welcome. I'm still figuring out my setup here. I still have clothes everywhere and everything like that, but all is well. How are you guys doing? Yay. People are here. Yay, more people are here. Earlier, so my live is on a different thing, and it said, before I got on, it said I was going live on December 31st, 1969. So that was a bit odd. How is everyone? Thank you for watching, and thank you for being here today. It's been a crazy week. One of my absolute favorite things that happened this whole week was CNN. Hello, Cruiser. I hope you're well. One of my favorite things that happened this week was everything that happened with CNN. If you guys didn't, I don't know if you heard about this or not. It was trending on Twitter today. It was trending on Twitter today. CNN. So Project Veritas, I'm sure you guys know who they are. They are an investigative journalist group. They get slandered a lot in the media. And the reason they get slandered a lot in the media is because they find things out that people don't, they say the quiet things out loud. Hi, Richard, how are you? So Project Veritas, and what they do a lot is hi, J-Watch, thank you for tuning in. What they do a lot is they go undercover and they sort of get these interviews with people and then they expose them. And that's exactly what they did with CNN. So an individual with Project Veritas went undercover and was interviewing, what is his name? His name is Chester. He is a director for CNN, and they basically admitted a bunch of things. It's because they actually do proper journalism. Yeah, Cruiser, I agree. Like back in the day, everyone was an investigative journalist. That was what you wanted to do. Like you wanted to go find out the truth and expose the truth. And now the truth is like, shh, nobody exposed the truth. So anyway, Project Veritas, yeah, they have someone go undercover and interview this guy who works for CNN. His name is Chester. I'm doing really well, Richard. Thank you. It's been a really crazy week. I'm here with my family, but it's been really, really cool. I've had a really good day. It's really nice being around my family. Some unexpected things happen, but it's just, I'm very, very thankful. I haven't seen my family in a year, so it's really nice. Okay, great. Oh, that I like that. What is it? He's a director, I believe. I can't remember what kind. But so he basically admits, I'm gonna break down, the videos came out in a few series, and James O'Keefe, he's sort of the head of Project Veritas. He's kind of the face of Project Veritas, and I think Project Veritas is actually he's the boss. Director of communication or something. I think you're right. I think he is the director of communication, Chester. So he's the one that sort of releases these videos, and he even got suspended on Twitter today for releasing these videos. And the first video, actually, I don't know really. I can't remember what the order was. Hi. Hello, Chris. I don't remember what the order was, but the one of the videos was they were basically saying they worked really hard to get Trump out of office and to make him, hey, Kelly, how are you? To make him look really bad and to make Democrats look really good. They basically admitted that Matt Gaetz, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on with him right now. A lot of some allegations coming out and a lot of stuff coming out against him. And obviously we don't know if those are true or not, but CNN basically admitted that they think Matt Gaetz is problematic. They don't like him because he is a vocal Republican. So they needed to do, thank you so much. That is really, really sweet. Thank you, Deb. That's really sweet. I love the news. Like even when I'm not making videos, I'm watching stuff all the time. It's just fun for me. Hey, Special K, how are you? They basically admitted that Matt Gaetz, like they had an issue with him, so they needed to make him look bad. So that was sort of the first one. It's like kind of bad, but not like really bad. The second one was about the virus, and they basically admitted that they hyped up the fear around the virus. They basically admitted that fear is what gets ratings. You're welcome. They basically admitted that fear is what gets ratings. Sad stories don't necessarily get ratings. It's the fear, because sad is kind of here, but fear, you're heightened, you're up here. So they purposefully hyped up the fear on the virus. They admitted this. They also admitted that do you guys remember? I don't know if you remember. I can't remember, and I don't know if I ever talked about this in any of my videos, but there was on CNN during the height of the virus and everything like that. On CNN, there was basically like a death ticker that they had all the time, and it had the death toll on it. It had how many people had passed away from the virus. And he basically admitted that they did that. Yeah, you remember that, Michael? Yeah. So they basically admitted that they did that to inject fear into people. And this Chester guy basically said, yeah, there were some times where all these dudes are getting honey potted on Veritas. Funny as hell. It's hilarious. And it's hilarious how they try to silence them. It's so funny. The ticker left CNN the moment Trump left office. Yeah, I agree with you. They didn't need it anymore. But they basically said, and this guy basically said, yeah, there were some times where catching you live finally. I'm so happy. Hi, ST. Yay. They basically admitted that, or he basically admitted that he was some days hoping it was higher, the number, so they could get more ratings. How is it going tonight besides liberal craziness? LOL. It's going good for me. It feels so good. You know, I'm sort of in the country. I'm interacting with normal people, and I'll tell you, it feels so good. You have no idea. If you don't know, if you're just hopping on here, I recently came to Virginia to spend some time with my family from LA. I lived right in the heart of West Hollywood, and I'm still getting settled, so I'm a little bit jumbled, and a lot has been going on here, but it's just wonderful being with family. It's wonderful being sort of in the country and out of LA and around normal people. And you realize too, I don't know about you guys, hi, what did I miss? We're just talking about fun. I didn't see the rest of your name. We're talking about CNN and Project Veritas, and then I went into moving across the country and just how nice it is to be out of LA and around just normal people. LA is very, you just walk around, and maybe it's where I live. I don't know. I lived in West Hollywood. Oh, awesome. Back on the East Coast. Welcome. Thank you, Chris. I'm so happy to be on the East Coast. You have no idea. I do love California. I know everyone makes fun of me for liking California, but there are some parts of California that are still really nice. I do love it there, and that's one of the reasons I speak out. Where did you move? I'm in like Virginia area. I didn't move here, and I'm just here for a little bit to spend time with my family because, you know, things are so shut down there. It is actually really funny. You're welcome. It's actually really funny because things were so quiet for me in Los Angeles, and everything that I did was from home. I don't even know if I can say it. Literally tonight, I got a message from, I can't say it, but I almost had a direct booking, and you basically never get those. When you're an actor, when you leave your area, you will, it's beautiful in Cali. It's the people there that suck. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's why I love it, and that's why I'm hoping some of the sucky people will maybe get out of office. But when you audition, when you're an actor, you will get no auditions, or no one will want to hire you. And then the second you go out of town, the second you're not available. Exactly. Yeah, no, they do. Thank you very much. keeping watch. No, I'm very happy right now. This is exactly where I should be. Very happy. I'll probably be going back. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what happens when you are acting. As soon as you leave and you're unavailable, everybody wants you. When were you forced to take the vaccine at the airport? No. Actually, you want to hear something really interesting? I'll fully disclose to you guys. I took the vaccine. I did not want to. I did not plan on it. I have some very vulnerable family members, and I only did it for them. Otherwise, I would not have. Do they really take dumps on the sidewalk on Rodeo Drive? I have a funny story for you about that. I'm gonna come back. There are still some Republican brothers and sisters still in Cali, so we have to support them. Exactly. You know, there's a lot of good people in Cali, and there's a lot of really good people that are fighting, and a lot of really good people that want change. I was one of the people that went out, we set up tables, and we got people to sign the Gavin Newsom recall. And that gave me so much hope, because when we were sitting at that table, the people that came up and talked to us, you wouldn't believe how many people in California just think the same way that we do, and they understand what's going on. Yeah. Yeah, and there are a lot of good people, and it was it was actually really inspiring. Okay, yeah, you want to know which one I got? I'll tell you which one I got. I got the J&J. And do you want to hear a story? Okay, I'll tell you a story. So I got it last minute. Like I told you. Were you a part of that? Nice. Yes, I did, Kelly. I set up tables, and I did it 2 times. We set up tables. We were outside in the middle of West Hollywood for 4 hours, 2 times, and we got a bunch of people to sign. It was really cool, and it was cool because we were able to talk to people, and it was so nice to be able to talk to people about California and what we see happening and all of that. So it was inspiring. I even got a ticket. So I actually have to go to, well, I requested court. I got a citation when we were doing the Gavin Newsom signing. No, Deb, I meant politicians. Oh, when we were doing the Gavin Newsom recall signing, I actually got a ticket, a mask mandate ticket, even though I had 2 masks in my purse. I wear them when I don't like wearing them, but I do what I need to do. I was in an open park, away from people, behind a table, with 2. Yes, I got so basically I'm fighting it. I requested an appeal. I'm going to court. I'll tell you what happened with that. This is actually really interesting. And I'm still not sure exactly what happened. So we're in this open park. This is our 2nd day that we've been there. We were there a month earlier for 4 hours getting people to sign the recall. And we're in, it's a park. It's like a grassy knoll. They call it a park. It's basically a giant grassy knoll where homeless people hang out. So it's a giant grassy knoll, and there's sidewalks around it, and it's right in the heart of West Hollywood, and that's where we set up our table. And we're away from the sidewalk. We're in the middle of the park. And keep in mind, when you go to a restaurant, you're allowed to sit outside with 3 or 4 people at the table without a mask on. And then a server comes to your table, and they're like 1 foot away from you. And then you're closer to other tables, and then sometimes there's plexiglass, which I get the plexiglass, but then grassy knoll. So we were there a month earlier for 4 hours. The whole time we were there, there was a big congregation of homeless people without masks on. No one said anything. No one came up to us. Actually, we had Major Williams with us. Yeah, I agree. Hold on, I just want to read that. I think J&J is fine. I feel bigger pharma companies are trying. Yeah, I want to get back to that in a second, because I might have had a slight reaction to that, but I'm fine. So we were fine. The second time we were out, so when we're sitting at the table, we don't have our masks on. There's no point. And again, we're away from everyone. When people come to the table, they're far away from us. The table is separating us. We're socially distanced. Keep in mind, we're outside. So we had a sheriff approach us and say, hey, you guys need to put masks on. And we were like, well, no, we're not, because we're in a park. We're not around anyone. Look at the restaurant across the street with everyone sitting at the tables. they're less safe than we are right now. So no, and it's not that I'm an ass. I respect police officers. And we actually had a really long conversation. So this police, I don't think he was a sheriff, but they were with the sheriff's department, I believe. So he comes up to us and talks to us, and then he goes, we're just like, no, we're not going to do that. So he kind of goes away, and he's like, okay, just letting you know, like, some people are not happy with you guys being out here. And we were like, what are you talking about? Who's not? What are we doing? Who's not? We had a table that said recall Gavin Newsom. That's it. And people knew what we were doing, but we're just sitting there, two polite people. Like, do I look offensive? Do I seem like I would be offensive out in public? I'm not. I love to talk to people. I'm polite. I'm respectful. So, and keep in mind, I live in Protest Central. I saw the 20,000 people. They came in my neighborhood. The 20,000 people on June 7th that protested through Hollywood at the height of the pandemic. I bumped into that. I went to go get cat food one day at the height of the pandemic, and I bumped into 20,000 people. Well, many of them were not masked or distancing, which, whatever, do what you do. Thank you, Special K. I appreciate that. Kelly. Well, apparently I require 5 police officers. Okay, so keep in mind this has been happening in my hood for the entire extent of the pandemic. After George Floyd, Protest Central, not masking, and then my city council members, my officials are just praising these people while simultaneously telling us that if we have anyone at our house, they will cut off our water. So anywho, fast forward to the day. So this cop comes and talks to us. He goes away, and then I would say about an hour later, we see 2 police cars park, and 3 police officers come out and talk to us. Hello, Sarah. How's it going? Have you been dyeing the roots dark? Excuse me. I like my dirty roots a little bit. I actually keep them for a little bit because I like them, sir. So 3 police officers get out and come and talk to us, and they're like, hey, some people are really uncomfortable with you guys not having masks on. And I'm like, why? We're not around anyone. Like, there's no reason. Look at the restaurant across the street with all the people congregating without the masks. And so we were just like, you know what? We're not putting them on. I'm sorry. Like, this isn't just, like, we have a right to be out here, and we're peacefully protesting. That was our peaceful protest. So we basically said no, and the more we talked to the officers, the more they were like, you know what? We feel uncomfortable even talking to you. They were basically forced to come and talk to us. So we're talking to them. It's a great exchange. We're like, you know what? We're just sitting here. We're not doing anything. We're at this area. And so, exactly. So they start walking away, and they go back to their cars. Meanwhile, another officer shows up. So there's like 4 officers at this point. And then 2 city council members, I realize while all this is going on, while we're talking to these police officers, by the way, we are having a wonderful interaction with all of these police officers. While we're talking to these officers, 2 West Hollywood city council members, and I know exactly who they are. I'm not going to say their names right now, but I know who they are. 2 West Hollywood city council members are in a parking lot across the street staring at us. And as the cops leave, they let us be. They give us no citation. As they leave, and they're telling us, well, it's zero tolerance now, even though none of this was announced. So there's a mask mandate where you're supposed to be wearing masks, like anytime you're outside. But in my opinion, I'm like, I go to the beach all the time. If you're on a beach blanket, you're not wearing a mask on. If you're away from people, if you're at a park, you're not wearing a mask on. If you're away from people and you're with your group, you're several people. Exactly. No, you're absolutely right, Kelly. And we had probably a 45 minute conversation with them. It was a lovely interaction, lovely conversation. I think it might have been city council. I'm not sure. So anyway, they walk away from us. Everything's fine. They go and talk to those 2 city council members. City council members are looking at us. Hi, Glenn. How are you? They're looking at us. They're kind of pointing. And then the officers come back and they're like, I'm sorry, but we have to give someone a ticket. So I volunteered to get the ticket, and then I just told them that I was going to appeal it in court. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going to be appealing it in court. So I'm waiting on my court date to be able to show up in court and appeal the mask mandate. Yeah, I have a feeling it was because I know who those 2 city council members were, and I had a feeling it's because I have a feeling, I don't know, obviously I'm not a mind reader, I have no evidence, but yeah, breaking the law. I have a feeling it was because they didn't like that we were out there getting people to sign up for a Gavin Newsom recall. So yeah, I took one for the team, and I was actually the one who's more mask friendly than other people. When did you get the ticket, Glenn? I got it in, oh shoot, February. Yeah, I got the ticket in February. And so the West Hollywood court has been really cool with me. So I should be getting my City Vax 12K people, and then NJ was shut down for the blood clot. Scary. Yeah, I'll talk to you about that in just a second, because that's what I got. I am Spartacus. Yeah, I'm going to court. Haha, I can't wait. I have so much video footage in West Hollywood of just what I've seen. How much was the ticket? It was $300. So the mask mandate that I got in West Hollywood, by the way, when I got this, I had 2 masks in my purse. It was $300, and I actually crowdsourced it. So it was people that watched my channel, because even to fight the ticket, I had to pay for it before I even fought the ticket. And I didn't, so I basically crowdsourced, and we gathered the money together, and we're going to pay for it together. And then, yeah, $300. And then I think if they do drop the ticket, I want to put that money back into either a business, or it's only $300. It's not a lot, but I want to do something for someone else if they release the money back to me. But you have to pay for it before you even fight the ticket. That's bull crap. Anywho, the vaccine. Yes, so I was not going to get the vaccine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. That's freaking crazy. $300? I know, that's why I'm fighting it. Not cool. And I kind of took one for the team on that one. And you feel like it's almost like you feel abused. Almost. That's the first time I felt almost just abused by my government. Just because of everything that happened, because they're telling us that we're in the middle of this pandemic, and it is so strict in LA. Obviously, they're telling us to stay home. We'll cut off your water if you have anyone over. Yet they're allowing thousands of people on our street, sometimes on a daily basis. There was a point in time in the summer, these protesters were out every single day, and they praised this. So this is clearly like, it's selective enforcement. First of all, I personally, it's unjust, and it's selective enforcement, because you praised everyone else that was out, yet I was out with 2 or 3 people. Anywho, but the vaccine, so I wasn't going to get the vaccine, and the only reason I did was for my family, and simply because I'm not an anti-vaxxer. It hasn't been out long enough. Thank you, Chris. I think so. Even if it's just for the time being, I was just feeling like I don't know how long I'm going to be here, and I don't know where smartest virus ever. Absolutely, Special K. I don't know where I'm going to go next. It'll probably be California. It probably won't be exactly where I was living, but just the way that things were going. And, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, things are just, and I'm still back and forth. I'm still based there. I'm still doing auditions from there and work from there and all of that stuff. No, I agree, Kelly. I was actually really afraid too. I only did it for my family because I was coming back here. That's the only reason I did it. Go to San Diego, maybe. The only reason I did it was for my family. So I got the Johnson & Johnson, and I went to, it was like a huge, I'm 5'1". First of all, okay, so Evan Lane said that IMDb said that I'm 5 foot, and I saw that too, and I'm really upset about it because I'm 5'1.5". Just saying. Oh, you did. I got the Johnson & Johnson COVID shot 2 weeks ago, and I also did it for myself and family. Plus, can't wear a mask. It's called freedom of choice. Did you know that SAS is my initials? SAS, Sarah and Santoni, those are my initials. But I was fine. I got it. So I got the vaccine, and I actually got on a plane that same day, and I had a slight panic attack. And I think I had the slight panic attack because, one, I got it and I was nervous about getting it because I don't want to get it. And two, I was on an overnight flight with my cat, and my cat scares me. If she weighed 50 more pounds, she would kill me. And she doesn't like flying. Most cats don't like flying. It was the first time we flew together, and it was an overnight flight. There was a connector, and I had a panic attack on it. It wasn't a panic attack. I was like, it was 2 minutes where I just realized, damn. I know they shorted me. That's not cool. I need to fix that somehow. I'm really upset. I need that 1.5 inches. I don't have much. But I'm sitting on the plane, and I'm thinking it was also the first time I had been on a plane. The first time I had been on a plane this entire year. I had been in California this entire year. So I'm sitting on the plane, and you have to wear a mask the whole time. My cat's trying to break out of her cat carrier. I just got the vaccine. It's an overnight, it's all a mess. And there was like 5 minutes where I got really heated, and I was like, just count backwards from 10. It's going to be okay. I feel like I can't breathe. I don't know if I can't breathe. Can I breathe? I have no idea what's going on. Where am I? I had an appointment to get the J&J a week before it was paused. I ended up skipping the appointment. Just didn't feel right. Yeah, I got it. I was fine. I just had that one moment. It felt like a slight panic attack, and it felt like I was going to pass out for probably about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I was completely fine. Hammerstein, you shouldn't have a pet you're afraid of. Yeah, I mean, as long as she doesn't weigh more than make Sarah 5'1.5" again. As long as she doesn't like grow, I think we're okay. She's kind of my guard cat. She's very scary. I think she's sexist against men. She attacks men. But other than that, yeah. And then it was after I got the vaccine, we found out that, they paused it. I was like, great, that's wonderful. But I feel fine. Nothing else besides that. But it was funny though, because I had to take a family member. Antifa don't get COVID. No, they don't. I think it's because they're so covered up. You just scared me with another. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. No, I honestly feel fine. And that could have been, it was my first time being on a plane, and I haven't had to go. Some people have to go to work from like 9 to 5, or they work somewhere and they're used to wearing a mask for hours at a time. I don't wear a mask for hours at a time. I wear it when I need to go to the store, or when I'm wherever I have to wear it. I think I do have a feminist cat. Yeah. Which is weird because she's my cat, and I wouldn't consider myself, I would consider myself an old school feminist where I believe in equality, but I don't consider myself the type of feminist that we see now. But other than that, the vaccine was fine. It was so interesting though, because I don't even know if I should say this. I took a family member to the doctor, and even a nurse I was talking to, she was a little hesitant to get it, but I think most of it is fine. Honestly, I think with Johnson & Johnson, it was an overreaction, because a few people got blood clots. But the thing is, so many people I actually heard a really good analogy. And it was, I don't know if you follow, there's a guy with the YouTube, his name is Anomaly, that's his YouTube channel, and I've actually met him before. He's really awesome, but he talks a lot about what's been going on with all this, and what he says, he's not anti-vax, and neither am I. No way am I anti-vax at all. I've worked at hospitals before too, so I've had to get vaccinated. I feel fine. I had one weird moment right after, because I literally got on a plane right like hours after I took it, and I probably should not have done that. Yeah, he's awesome. I've met him in person. He's a really cool guy. But he had a really good analogy, and his thing is against mandating people to get like the vaccine passport. And what he was saying was, he goes, all if everyone ate almonds, we would probably all be healthier. And he's just using a random healthy thing. We can say lettuce, or we can say spinach. It's not really a vaccine, it's preventative shot, not a cure. Yeah, I agree. I only got it because, you know, family and that thing. But what he said, you know, if everyone ate almonds, if everyone ate spinach, then we would all be healthier. But some people are allergic to spinach. Some people have adverse reactions to spinach. So saying that you should have a spinach passport would be pretty wrong to the people that can't eat spinach. Yes, it's maybe good for most people. It's maybe, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate right now. Maybe it's good for most people, maybe, and it's healthy, and it will make everyone healthier if they do it. But those people that have those reactions, that you shouldn't. I'm not for having a vaccine passport or anything like that. I work a lot with older folks. They have all been vaccinated. Yeah, and I have some older peanut butter passports. Sarah, do you have a video of the incidences of bullcrap, mask, etc.? I have videos of talking to the police. I don't know. I do. I have videos of talking to the police, and I don't know if I want to share them right now just because the police were really cool. I've had Johnson & Johnson. This is my last. Yeah, so I just don't want to like out who they were. But everything's on video. Yeah. Nobody was allergic to nuts when I was a kid. Everybody ate peanut butter sandwiches. Yeah. The reactions are when they can't force everyone to be vaccinated. Yeah. It was interesting. And that was also a thing too, because I really didn't want to get it, but I did. And it honestly, it wasn't bad. It was like an open, it was a huge open parking lot. The military was there. It was military and FEMA and Parks and Rec, actually, that were there vaccinating people. And it was actually an Army guy that vaccinated me, especially in a world where all ability is supposed to be normalized. Proof of why you can't get the vaccine is the opposite of that. Yeah. No, exactly. And you know what else? Like, I'm going to just jump ship for a second, but I hope not either. It hurt too. It hurt bad. I have I don't have a lot of meat on my arms. It hurt bad. But other than that, it was fine. And other than that slight moment on the plane, they discovered my generation of 50 plus having fever reactions since we were exposed to more germs. Wow. Leaked. Oh, I heard that. The chip. Yeah, I heard about that. Family had bad headaches. I will say I felt tired, but I also traveled, so I don't know if the tiredness was from traveling. So that was another thing. I had an overnight flight. It was a connector flight. Did you cry? I didn't cry. I was proud of myself. I wanted to a little bit, and no one even held my hand. I don't like needles. I would rather be punched in the face. I really would. I would rather be, I don't want to say punched in the face. No. But I would rather be punched than have a needle go in me or anything like that. And time zone change. I would rather be punched than have a needle. I don't like it. But yes, I did have fatigue, but it could have been because, one, I had an overnight flight, and two, there was a 3-hour time change. And it really does like mess you up a little bit. Was your cat standing over you waiting for the icy hand of death to take you? Probably. She almost got out of her carrier on the... Oh, here's another story. Sorry, I know you're not tuning in to listen about my cat. My cat is very aggressive. Not to me, but she's very aggressive. No. Dr. Sherry, no, I don't. My cat is very aggressive to other people because she gets scared. The flight may have had something to do with your reaction. No, I do. I think it was, Kelly. Traveling with my cat makes me nervous too, and I've never flown with her, but she's very aggressive towards other people because she gets scared. And I'm going through security and I have her in her cat carrier, and they're like, "Oh, well, just take her out of security, or no, just take her out of her carrier and walk through, the metal detector." And I was like, "Are you sure you want me to do that?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can do this." I was like, "I just need someone to, cats are people too." I was like, "I just need someone," because I had to take her out, go through the metal detector, and then her cat carrier goes through the what do you call it? I can't think of words right now. You know what I'm saying, where your bags go through and they check your bags. So I was like, "Okay, I can do that, but I need someone to go to where her carrier is coming out right now and just meet me at the other end with her carrier. We have about 2 seconds and she's going to be on the roof." So, and she's a big cat too. I should get her over here. So I go through the metal detector. She's fine. And then one of the security guards comes over to me. My cats are singular, unique individuals. So is my kitty. So the security guard comes over to me and he has the wand and he's just kind of like do, like doing the wand around, kind of chit-chatting. And I'm like, and he doesn't have the carrier. And I'm like, and I can feel her claws are starting to dig. My cat's 15 pounds. Her claws are starting to dig. She's about to be on the ceiling. And I just look at him and I said, "You need to get the carrier. Can you get the carrier? Can you get the carrier?" And he goes, yeah, I'll get the carrier. I'll get the carrier." So he runs over. He's like, "We got to get the carrier. Where's the carrier? We need the carrier." And I'm sitting there with her and the claws are digging and digging and digging. And she's about to jump off of me. So he finally brings it over there. By the grace of the Lord, I got her in the carrier. And you could see all of these security guards around me sighing a breath of relief because it was about to get really bad. And I was like, "I got her in." And they were like, "You got her in." And then we got on the plane. So I think she was a little bit of my anxiety as well. But anywho, oh, another thing, let's jump for a second out of vaccines. Another thing that happened with CNN, I don't know if anyone saw this clip. Oh, so someone said, "I fly with my dog service animal. She sniffed out a cat that was in a carrier." Oh my gosh, you can't control them. Yeah, and then on the plane, I feel so bad. She threw up in her carrier and took a poo in her carrier. Yay! Hi, G-Man. Hey, it's going great. I was talking about my adventures at the airport. Cat stories are always good. I took care of a diabetic cat that hated me. Yeah, my cat hates most men, but she was fine. Yeah, and she threw up and she pooed in her carrier, I think, because she was so nervous. And she did it on the plane. So I had to clean it out and I felt so bad for her. But she was good. She almost got out of her carrier once and then she was fine and we made it here safely. Another thing that was funny with CNN was so much is happening. Basically, like, riot season has opened up again, and we have the Derek. And this is another reason why I wanted to sort of not be in my area, because I was there for all the George Floyd riots and protests, and I was caught in the middle of one of them and just did not want to deal with that again. So I knew the trial was coming up, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to be here right now. I can go stay with my family for a little bit. I don't feel like, and it's literally, I walk outside of my apartment and there's people just coming in, and I don't live in like Hollywood. I live in a residential area, but they will flood into our areas, and I just don't want any of it. So I knew the Derek Chauvin trial was happening, and I just decided that I just didn't want to be around for that. I'd like to live somewhere a little bit more quietly for a little while. And I'm glad I did that, because I've seen the protests are already ramping back up in LA. They're ramping back up in Minneapolis. We all knew this. The trial, and I don't know if you guys have been following the trial or not, but I mean, there's a very good chance that he's not going to get charged with what they want him to get charged with. And I'm not saying what side I'm on. I'm just saying this is the truth of what's happening. And it came out that, so a doctor said that there was no, that he passed away from drugs and heart problem. And I didn't, that's not me, that's coming from the doctor. And they also are, his drug dealer, who is actually in the passenger seat of the car with him, didn't testify, pled the fifth. And they're allowing him to do that. And the reason he pled the fifth is because he does not want to be convicted of murder. This is his drug dealer, and we know he had a lethal amount of drugs in him. No, you're absolutely right, Special K. No matter what happens, they're gonna riot. And that's why I was like, I don't want to be around this. And it's already happening in Minnesota. We've seen it all week. If he's found not guilty, that should be worth another 1.4 house for BLM organizer. Yes. So Patrice Cullors, oh my gosh, Patrice Cullors bought, so how many houses did she buy? 3 or 4. She bought 3 or 4 houses. One of the houses, I know exactly the area she bought it in. Topanga. That is a very, there is a term, yuppie. Do you guys remember that term? 4. So she bought 4 houses. This was her 4th one. The one she bought, the $1.4 million house that she bought in Topanga. That was the one that people noticed. And then they noticed that. And then they were like, whoa, you bought 3 other houses. Topanga is, I don't know. It's a very, it's a very wealthy area. It's like 90-something% white, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing or a weird thing, but it's a yuppies, yeah, it's kind of a yuppie area. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't mind, but it's just interesting. It's an interesting choice. It says a lot. 4 homes, that says a lot. So I know she gave an excuse. I didn't hear what that excuse is yet. Brady, I basically stopped using the word socialist because socialists are just communists in denial. They are. It's all communism. And that's what they do. Everything. It's so interesting, like watching how they covered Trump and all the things that he said. It's really interesting going back and looking at all the things he said and how they covered him. And it might be an echo because I don't have my normal microphone on. I'll have it next time. But it's so interesting watching how they covered him and the things that he said. And now you're seeing the Democrat Party saying the exact same thing and how they cover it. And the hypocrisy is it's so blatant. And it's just, it's almost like sometimes I think it would be better if Trump would have stayed in office because now it's so obvious. And now it says, she says they got money from a book and speaking engagements. She basically admitted that she's on camera saying that BLM, they do have an agenda. They are a Marxist. They are trained Marxist. I just don't understand how a trained Marxist buys 4 homes in a capitalist society. It doesn't make any sense, and it's just not a good look for her. I don't think she's going to be able to get out of this one. Yes, Glenn Allen, that's what I wanted to get to. Did you hear CNN? Do you hear BLM attacked CNN reporters? So Glenn Allen just said, did you hear BLM attacked CNN reporters? Yes. Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, hold on, I tweeted that out. What did I say? I was proud of myself for this one. I thought it was clever. Where is it? Oh, I said, CNN enjoying the fruits of their labor. So actually, hold on. This is very low tech. Did it just pause? So this is, those are CNN reporters? Heck yeah, it is. So these are CNN reporters being chased out. Look at him. And look, hold on, look what they do to the car.
Tyler, what'd they do?
Hold on, they do stuff to the car, I think. No. They said, excuse my language, but they said, did you hear what they said? Excuse my language. They said, that's CNN being some bitches. So my tweet, Master, hi! My tweet was, CNN, enjoying the fruits of their labor. How funny is that? This is what they did. Oh, and Project Veritas. This is the last video that Project Veritas released about CNN. The last video they released about CNN was actually CNN talking about, so I've made a video about this before. Brian Stelter tried to play that story down. I didn't know that, Kelly. One of the last videos that Project Veritas reported, that Project Veritas released, was CNN basically admitting, so we talked about it before, were those eggs? They created it. What are you gonna do? You can't get mad about it. Yes, and James O'Keefe from that was banned off Twitter right now. Yeah, J-Watch, thank you. Mostly peaceful. So it was CNN, the same guy, Chester, and he said in this release video from Project Veritas, he says they were talking about the Asian hate crime. So I think I made a video about this, or we talked about it once in the live stream together, where the whole Asian hate crimes, these have been happening all summer, especially in the Bay Area, like San Francisco, that area, and are coming out of those areas, a lot of stories. And the perpetrators happen to be mostly black men. It just is what it is. And nobody has ever talked about the crimes happening against Asians, at least not mainstream media, until the incident in Atlanta happened, which was a terrible incident. It was an awful tragedy. And this individual that did it was very sick in the head and had a motive that was very disturbing and very sick, but it had nothing to do with race. And that's what he admitted. He talked about it to the officers. He had actually talked about this same problem with friends prior to this even, or before this even happened. So this is something that has been coming out of his mouth and sort of known from several people. I read an article where a friend of his heard him talking about this. So this was the one instance that actually we had no evidence, and from the motive, there was no reason to believe that this was racially motivated, even though most of the victims happened to be Asian. The other crimes, by the way, we know that they were, a lot of them, because they're saying racial slurs as they're doing this. So the first crime against mostly Asians that actually didn't have to do with race, CNN jumped on that and Stop Asian Hate all of a sudden started trending. They blamed it on white supremacy, this and that. So in one of these videos that was released by Project Veritas, the undercover videos with CNN, one of the communications director with CNN, he basically admitted they knew about all the Asian hate, these crimes against Asians that were happening basically for the past, I don't know how long. I started hearing about them over the summer. They knew these were happening the whole time, but they couldn't talk about them on their channel, and they admitted they purposefully, if it was a white person, if it was ever a white person that committed the crime, they made sure they detailed and highlighted the fact that this individual was white. If it was any other race, they made sure that they downplayed that, and they admitted it, which we already knew, but they just said the quiet part out loud a lot. So they admitted it, and they admitted that they were there for BLM, and they were trying to have BLM's back, and they were like, ooh, this isn't a good look. This is bad optics. We know that, you know, when we're smart enough, because we're people, and we're smart people, we're adult people, we're smart enough to know that just because the majority of people committing these crimes are one race, that doesn't mean the entire race is bad. That doesn't mean that everyone in that race feels this way. We're smart enough to know that, but that's not the message that we are trying to send to our audience. We want to racially divide our audience. We want ratings. We want anger and hatred and fear, because that's what drives ratings. We don't want to actually be honest. We want to push our narrative, and our narrative that we chose is BLM. So that's the narrative that we're going with, and even if the truth opposes that narrative, we're not going to show it. So that's basically CNN, and they basically admitted that. Trust the plan. Oh, IG2, I actually stopped. You know what's crazy? I stopped watching CNN back in 2014. I think Charles said if he gets convicted, that will be the worst case scenario. I have, yeah. And either way, no one's ever going to be satisfied. And something interesting that I was thinking about recently too. So, I mean, I live in LA, so I've been keeping up with George Gascon. He's our new, like, super progressive DA. Or yeah, aren't there ratings in the toilet? Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Yeah, their ratings aren't very good. You're absolutely right. CNN's ratings have not been good for a while. Actually, though, they admitted during the virus, they actually had good ratings, and that was what was giving them ratings. So that's why they hyped it up, the virus. That's why they always had the death toll up there. That's why, hello. That's why they always had that number going. They wanted to keep the fear up, because that fear was giving them ratings, and that's exactly why they did it. Where was I going? I completely forgot. If it bleeds, it leads. Yikes, yeah. And, you know, when you talk about positive things, or when, I guess they, oh, well, they're in trouble, especially now. Yes, thank you. That's exactly, John, that's exactly what I was thinking. That I think their ratings after Trump was out of office, I think that's when it plummeted. They got ratings on Trump. They got ratings on the virus. And that's why I always say, like, why did they try to get him out of office? I'm actually really think about it. Shouldn't they should have wanted him to stay in office. Because now that he's out of office, they can't even talk about anything that's really happening, because that would expose them as hypocrites. So they should have tried to keep him in office. That wasn't very smart business-wise at all. I miss Trump too, Masta. Yeah, that's not very smart. You should try to keep, he's your ratings person. Why would you? The like to dislike ratio in every current CNN video is amazing. The comments are like reading funny papers. Yeah, and the same with the White House YouTube page. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I miss Trump too, Kelly. And there was also this video that, oh shoot, I wonder if I can find it for you guys. Hold on. I swear I'm gonna get better at technology, so I don't have to, like, put my laptop up here all the time. There was a video that came out recently, and it was on Twitter. It kind of went around on Twitter, and it was footage from one of the riots that's happening right now in Minneapolis. The ones that are happening, I believe, in, is it Brooklyn Center? And I think it was CNN. Was it CNN? Yeah, it was CNN. I didn't even know. But they were interviewing this kid, and he was at this riot, and he had a can of soup. And she goes, "What's that can of soup for?" And he goes, "It's for my family." And she goes, "You're not going to throw that at anyone, are you?" And he goes, "No, it's for my family." So they'll bring like cans of soup and stuff to throw at officers. So she mumbled to herself for a sec. Wait, did I? I don't even know. They played that video, and then they played a video of Trump. Right behind that video, they played a video of Trump where he's saying, yeah, they'll show up with cans of soup and they hurl them at officers, and then they say they brought them for their families. He said that several years ago, and everyone told him he was a crazy conspiracy theorist. And this is the fun thing about Trump. You go back on so many things, and he's right. It's fascinating. Whether you like the man or dislike the man, he's been right about so many things. Everything they called him a conspiracy theorist for, he's come out to be right about. It's actually quite fascinating. Future proves past, yeah. And that's why it would have been so much better for a lot of these people if Trump would have just stayed in office, because a lot of people that didn't see what was going on before are starting to see it now, because it's harder and harder to hide now. And again, it just blows my mind. Oh, but to go back to Gascon, like these protesters, the people that are going to be rioting, no matter what the verdict is on Derek Chauvin, they go out on the streets and they yell, "No justice, no peace." They want justice. And no justice is ever good enough for them. They always need more justice. Yet, the same group will support DAs, district attorneys like George Gascon, who is the district attorney right now in Los Angeles, who they're trying to recall. There's a recall effort, which I will be signing for George Gascon in LA. George Gascon is all for no bail. He's all for letting criminals off lightly. So they say on one end, no justice, no peace, yet they support people who don't demand justice. It makes absolutely no sense. They want selective justice. They want supremacy. That's what they want. They don't want fair and equal justice for everyone. They want selective justice. They are the authoritarians. They are the meanies. They are the bullies. Who eats soup at a riot? Where's the can opener? That's what I'm saying. Have you ever even tried to open a can of soup without a can opener? It's ugly. I've done it once. I got a knife out. I don't even remember if it actually worked. Strip filibuster. Yeah, Kelly, they are the real fascist. They don't. And half of them, I remember where I lived in West Hollywood. One day I was walking out of my apartment, and it was at the height of all of the protests, and I walked outside, and the protesters would go, well, I can tell you where I live now. I don't live there anymore. But I lived in a residential like neighborhood, beautiful street. So pretty. I miss that street. And it was right below Sunset Boulevard. So it was like a block below Sunset Boulevard, and a lot of the protests would happen on Sunset Boulevard. So they're not literally happening on my street, but I would get overflow. And Sunset was where I would go all the time. That's where a lot of my stores are. So I would get sort of spill out or overflow when people were walking away from the protests. And I remember walking out of my apartment one day, and I see this girl, and she had a sign that said, she was protesting for BLM. They were protesting Breonna Taylor. And she had a sign that said she was asleep in her bed. Breonna Taylor was not, and I'm not saying what side of the fence I'm on here, but she was not asleep in her bed. And at the time that this protest was, she was standing in the hallway when she was shot. At the time that this protest had happened, this information had been public for, I think, several months. And I just remember thinking, you took the energy to get up, get dressed. You bought some poster board. You got a marker. You wrote that on your poster board. You got in your car. You went to an area. You were out in the hot sun, yelling and screaming things, blocking traffic. That's what they like to do in LA. They block the traffic. They love to block the traffic. And you have a sign and you didn't even bother to do research to find out the truth. So I'm supposed to believe that you actually care? You don't actually care. You didn't even research what actually happened. What's on your sign isn't true, and that information had been public at that point for several months. And that's how these people are. And then again, I lived in West Hollywood. You're right. People are getting exactly what they asked for, and it's bad. It's sad. So where I lived, West Hollywood. West Hollywood is probably one of the most liberal cities in all of the US. And they come and protest in West Hollywood. They're preaching to the choir when they're in West Hollywood. Maybe not me. I'm conservative. I'm not super. You know what's weird? I used to love living in liberal areas. I used to love it. That's why I moved to West Hollywood. And I want to tell you a story in a second. But anywho, they will protest in West Hollywood on my block, like 2 blocks away from where I live. And they will protest in the street, and they will literally block traffic. And when I say they're blocking traffic, they will sit in the middle of the street and not let cars by. These cars are probably supporters of BLM. These cars agree with them. This is the most liberal city. Why are you doing this? These people are trying to go home. They're trying to go to work. They're trying to see their kids. They're trying to see their boyfriend or their girlfriend or their mom. And you're doing it to them? Like, do you think that's smart? Or what are you accomplishing? It literally makes no sense what these people are accomplishing. And I remember West Hollywood. Do you guys remember the Pulse nightclub shooting that happened? It happened a few years ago. Campbell's tomato soup is the cheapest. But Campbell's chicken noodle soup, I feel like, is really good. Did you have that whole conversation? I just missed it. I think you did. So the Pulse nightclub shooting happened. This was actually a really beautiful memory that I have from West Hollywood. Pulse nightclub shooting happened. So West Hollywood is, West Hollywood has one of the biggest Pride celebrations. So Pride Month is a really big deal in West Hollywood. They have a huge Pride celebration, and it's one of the biggest in the nations. There's a huge parade. It's like a weekend party. When I first moved in my neighborhood, I lived right where they would queue up the floats to go on the parade. So I'm just a people person. I like action. I like being around people. So I liked going out there and watching them queue up the floats and then go I would always go to the parade. So what happened when the Pulse nightclub shooting happened, it happened on a Saturday night. And that Sunday morning we were having in West Hollywood, it was the Pride Parade. And that morning in Santa Monica, so this is happening in West Hollywood. In Santa Monica, there was a person that was pulled over, and he had, I cannot remember if it was a firearm or an explosive, but he had a weapon, and he admitted that he was planning on going to the parade in West Hollywood and hurting people, basically. You know what I'm saying. And they caught him, and they arrested him and put him in jail. And when this was happening, for a minute, people were like, oh my God, are we going to cancel the parade? Because this might not be safe. This shooting just happened, and then this happened in the morning. They didn't cancel it. But what they did do, they brought out, I don't know if it was National Guard, but they brought out police tanks. It was either police or National Guard. I didn't know at the end. They brought out tanks. They brought out extra police. They brought out everyone. And it was just such a beautiful thing because it was police protecting us so we could have this celebration. And it was us saying, we're not scared. We're not going home. And it was us just all being together and being in it together, and we respected law enforcement and they respected us, and they were there for us so that we could go on and have our dumb celebration and show people that we weren't afraid. And it was just a really cool, beautiful moment. And I remember that moment, and it's just not like that anymore. It's everyone hates the police, even though they're there to protect us. And I've just seen that shift happen in West Hollywood, and it's sad to me. It was cool. It actually brought a tear to my eye. It was very cool. It was just everyone, like, and they had so much police presence, but they were there to protect us so we could have this silly little parade. So it's just, I remember, I think about that, and then I think about what's happening right now, and it's just like a huge 180. Most cops relish the opportunity to protect their community in a real way. Yeah. And one thing I observed too, on June 7th of 2020, and that was when that huge, if you guys remember the footage of that giant protest that happened, that was where you see the overhead in LA, that picture where there's just mass amounts of people in the streets. So I accidentally bumped into that, and it came to my neighborhood, and before it came into my neighborhood, because they were walking into my neighborhood, before that, we had National Guard everywhere, because this was right after our giant riots on May 31st. That's when they burnt down just buildings and looted everything and all that stuff. So we had National Guard out there for a few weeks, and they were everywhere. But what I witnessed in my neighborhood, when I was walking in my neighborhood, and when I was with the people that lived in my neighborhood, our relationship with police and the National Guard was so nice. We were like, thank you. The National Guard, they were on rooftops, just like guarding, and they would give people thumbs up. They would wave to us. We would wave to them. It was just such a cool thing. They were there to protect our neighborhood, and we were thankful that they were there. When the protesters came through, it was a total different story. All of a sudden, you saw a completely different sentiment to the cops. All of a sudden, it went from thank you, hello, hello, to screw you, all cops are bad. Ah! That's what it turned into. Very fascinating. Anywho, I think it's my special time. Oh, thank you. I don't know if you enjoy those stories, but I feel like I've observed so much, because so much has happened in my neighborhood. Lack of moon period, yeah. It was just crazy to see the difference in what the people that lived there, how we felt with the police being there, and how the people that didn't live there. Because I guarantee you most of the people those 20,000 people that walked down the street did not live in my neighborhood. But anyway, thank you so much, you guys. I'm going to break out the ukulele again next week. I don't have it, yeah. Do I have it? I do have it. Hold on. Literally in the middle of me saying that, I just saw it. Hold on. I have one. I'll play something. Oh gosh. Hold on one second. Hello. Okay. I have my other one is super out of tune, but I have this one. This is literally, I think it's like a kid's ukulele. I have it just for decoration. It hangs on my wall. Here we go. No, I have my other one right here, but it's super out of tune, so I didn't want to play it. Can you shred? This, I don't even think it's in tune. Can you? I was actually, I learned this. I learned this at the beginning of the virus. I don't know what that song is. Yeah, this baby needs to be tuned. Let me try my other one. I thought this one was out of tune. 93 Sinners Compromise? What are you talking about? This one's super out of tune. Actually, it's not that bad. Your cat has fleas? No, she doesn't. Your cat has fleas. It's actually, well, my tuner is on my phone. I use it on my phone. Sounds like Teen Spirit. Now, I played that last week. I'll play more next week. My tuner's on my phone, and that's actually what I am using right now. So you're right. I actually should invest in a better tuner, but I use the one on my phone. Deliverance. There's a story. Okay, somebody just said, Deliverance. There's a story about Deliverance that I just learned. So do you know, if you've seen Deliverance, you know, today I learned so we're square up if you brag on her cat. And my cat will. Hold on, I'll show her to you. While we're here, we're just hanging out now. I'm gonna get her. Hold on. So this is happening. Hello, Eva. No, look at the camera. Oh. See? Do you remember when we went on the plane together and you were not very happy? Sorry, I had to. I know she is a big cat. No, she can't play the guitar. Kelly, she always looks angry, like she's mad at something. I think that's why I'm a little afraid of her. She is a big cat. Well, I'm a small person and I have a big cat. Throw meow mix. Good kitty. All right. Oh, but Deliverance, that's what I was going to tell. I don't know if you guys know. So that kid that was playing that song in Deliverance, he's not an actor. He wasn't cast in that. They just saw him in this area. I guess it was, I know it was based in West Virginia. I'm pretty sure that it was filmed in West Virginia. But they just stumbled upon this kid and they were like, we have to put him in this movie. He's perfect for this part. So that's how he got cast. He was just someone random that they sort of discovered in that area, which I think is pretty cool. I think she does need an Instagram page. I actually have a lot of pretty funny stuff with her. He lived in the town. Oh, I got it! Can you see me now? What is happening? Can you see me? Oh, you can see me. Am I here? You see me now. Yay. No, I did this on my phone and somebody called me. I know, I think I'm... There we go. I know, I was messing with you right there. It has, I don't know what this is. I've never done this on my phone and it has filters. I'm pushing them. Can you see me now? What about now? Yes. Oh, wait, someone asked me a question. Okay, I'm normal now. Am I normal? No, that's a dream. Normal. Now we're normal. Yes, I had been keeping up with the riots and I feel the exact same way as I do about all of them. I don't think any of these people actually care. None of them care about the truth. And what's a huge shame about all of this is I think this is going to keep happening because look at the rhetoric that is happening. We're creating an environment where people they don't trust police officers, and we have places like CNN now that are admitting that they hype these things up, and that's what happens. But yeah, I've been keeping up with it a lot. I want to talk about that more soon because I have been following it, and honestly, that's one of the reasons that I didn't really want to stay in West Hollywood at the moment, because that's kind of a hot spot for everything. Okay, I think I'm gonna go. I was getting ready. You mean the partly violent protest? No, it's mostly peaceful. It's not partly it's the wording. Mostly peaceful is way better than partly violent. Okay, I think I'm gonna go now, you guys. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. Tune into The Mandalorian. Thank you so much, Brady. It's riot season. The press and the tank people, cities are gonna pay. Yep, we had April. You have April Fools. You have opening day for baseball. You have Easter. And then you have opening day for riot season. Okay, thank you very much, you guys. We have to buy property in Pennsylvania. I like Pennsylvania, actually. Okay, thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you later. If I can figure out even how to turn this off. So long, everyone. Bye. Okay, bye, everyone.